This is my 11th or 10th year since I've been a bishop there. The whole issue of the youth or the young people, as we call them, is being taken very seriously, first of all, by the conference. But even before that, it's one thing we identified right from the beginning, since even as I became a priest, because it is from the young people who are mentored and grown by the church, who eventually become the adults of the church, who eventually become the priests, the religious, and everybody. So they are a vital component of our society that we should care for them. Mombasa, as we ourselves, for the last 2 years now, I have already, during the launch of the commission in the conference for the youth, we identified 3 priests, and these 3 priests are part of a team who are working the young people. So during the launch, we invited and we opened our doors to them to come to Mombasa. In fact, it was estimated about 300,000 young people came to Mombasa, including our own. They stayed with us, some in the parishes, some in our pastoral centers, some among other young people, they stayed together. But we had a launch of this event for the Kenyan conference, where also the chairman of the youth and his assistant were present. What we are identifying is obviously we need them to learn to be young people who are close to Jesus. I can never overemphasize that, because the young people, as you know, there's so much distractions in our world today. And the distractions comes from all kinds of things. Could be family, could be peer pressure, could be issues about them not feeling accepted in society, questions about their faith, and therefore they need the church to walk with them towards Jesus. And I believe that is what Jesus is asking. What is Jesus asking the young people to do? He's asking them to give their 5 loaves and the 2 fish, their gifts, their giftedness, to the service of the church, to service of each other. And taking that example of feeding the 5,000, where Jesus asked the disciples, give them something to eat. The young people are able to mobilize themselves in a very interesting way. A case in mind, the so-called Gen Zs in our countries and many places where they have taken up the initiative to challenge society about social issues about corruption, issues about lack of bad governance. It's become a very a community by itself that is saying the many things some of the adults and many people are afraid to say. They have the facts and they speak from the facts. So Mombasa, I held several conversations with the youth online, even as early as that time when things were happening. Because if you leave them alone, then they can be distracted, or even distracted to join the enemy. Let me call it the enemy. So that's what we're doing at the moment. We have a communications office, which has facilities like radio. We have actually a radio, although the expanse is not the whole diocese, but covers majority of the diocese, 3/4 of the diocese. Therefore, we invite them also in the studio. We invite the youth coordinators to engage in dialogue with them, engage parents to engage with dialogue with the youth. I have done it also myself. I invite priests or persons of interest to dialogue with them online. And therefore, even as early as the year 2000, when we had Corona, we began this online conversation with different sectors: youth, women, men, the family particularly, because that's where the key of the problem can be, where the families do not sometimes understand their youth or their young people. And therefore we invite also people on set. We create possibilities like that. We create what we call youth days, which can be able to let them interact with the adults. And in that way, we work as a family. The issue of the young people, okay, the digital space is there, but most of them have a mobile, most of them have a use of the technology. But what are they tweeting about? What are they watching about? Or what are they receiving from outside world? Therefore, one of the ways is to have in parishes what we call communication agents. And that's what they have done. We've done in Mombasa, that as many as parishes are, we invite each parish to have an agent, a communication agent, who shares also with a central point where information can be spread or shared, either on radio or on the social media. Employment is key to survival. It provides bread on the table. And therefore, you cannot be employed unless you've trained or you have skills or you have able to produce something for sale. Is it your labor? Is it your intellectual awareness of what you're able to do? And therefore, one of the things we do, of course, we're encouraging young people in schools, to please concentrate on your studies. Ensure you are not left out. Do not join those who ban schools. Do not, all these kind of negative things, because they are frustrated, they tend to get wild because they cannot contain, particularly when they are exam year time or rather terms. We have encouraged them to remain focused. We tell them, look, let's remember PhD. Prayer, hard work, and discipline pays. If they so do, they will not be discouraged. We have colleges. We have teacher training colleges. Just the other day, I was graduating a few of them. 77. They were the class that was finishing in Bura Teacher Training College, St. Mary's in Taita. Now I'm expanding that institution to Activate, where we not only do teaching, teacher education, we'll also do TVET, where these are technical education and vocational training, which is the skills like carpentry, electrical, all these skills that are very needed today. In that way, that college will give you a chance for these young people to go back home, not only be as teachers, also with other skills. We encourage them, especially too, where we have also technical schools, others. Marianists, there are congregations that they focus on training of the young people. The Marianists, the Don Boscos, we send people to Don Bosco training centers away from Mombasa, and they come back. Some of them have been hooked, or rather accompany others to the training. A last one is farming. Farming is a good business, very, very, very good business. And remember, every parish has some land, and not all the land is used. You may have 5 acres, but the only thing, you have a church there and one building. They can use those places to make income generating projects through farming. We train them through my place. We have a demo farm where when school closed, the seminary, the people come, families come from all the diocese, those who wish to be trained as farmers, and they are equipped with skills that they can grow food in a very interesting way, first of all for themselves and also for sharing with others. So it is skill training and mentorship so that they do not give up. And they don't need to have been in big schools or high schools. Anyone can learn some of these skills very easily, including even farmers who may be illiterate. Growing food is very easy and can provide a chance for people to have food on the table and more to sell as an income. I was a delegate, we were the 2 of us, myself and Archbishop Muheria, and in the dioceses, and especially in Kenya, and let me call it AMECEA country, the whole issue, first of all, the best practices is to have what the AMECEA country calls the church as a family of God, which has grown to become now in some places parishes. A case in mind, last Sunday, as you are opening the AMECEA Day here in Kivuva, I remained in the diocese opening a new parish. This new parish was formed by 10 small Christian communities that had seen the need to ask and request the diocese to give them a parish priest. And that day we did. And they were extremely happy, beautiful celebration. And they could see they're teaching their children, they're teaching their young. Again, another plus thing is where we have identified different sectors of the Christian folk, where you have the women have their own kind of unions, the men, the youth, and even children, such that everybody as a home they can feel at peace with. So the small Christian communities plus the solidarities also, like there are those of Sacred Heart, there are those who are doing something else. You provide all these possibilities so that people do not just say, yes, I'm baptized, but I don't know what to do next. If it's men, they have a men sodality under St. Joseph. If they are women, the same. They have Monica, they have St. Anne. If there's a youth, they have their patrons, Dominic and others, and they have their leadership also structured. Last but not least, out of all these groups, we have identified a way of growing leadership from the grassroots, such that we begin from the small Christian communities, they come into a parish setup, and they elect leaders for the whole diocese. And nationally, as a conference of bishops in Kenya, during my tenure as a chair of the conference also, we saw the possibilities to have leadership beginning from the grassroots, such that there are those who are doing, and it's only for 3 years, you can take 2 terms or 1 term. So every 3 years, there's elections of new leadership. Otherwise, they can get very stale if they stay too long. And some people are finding it, it's a good way of having to renew the leadership, or even to encourage younger groups to grow up the leadership. So the Christian communities, the formation of the different groups, and those leaderships are also sent to a place where we are calling leadership training. So that's how we train it in them. I would say to the you communicators, you and I, everyone who is the area of communication, different stages, different formats, that this is an area we so badly need. Because first of all, remember, Christ said, go to the whole world and bring the good news. So by these cameras, these recordings and others, through writing, through social media, this news or this good news spread throughout the world. A day like today here in the Kivuva, we listened to the testimonies of young people telling their story of how they became who they are. Some of them were CEOs, others were still grappling with what they are doing. And they proved to us, if this kind of message is shared to other people about to give up, they will not give up. So the spread of the good news, this is good news. Also, the spread of what you call the threats of the young generation today, or the whole church today. There are many threats. The one threat is people have given up, and they say there's none, don't disturb God. Let me stay alone, I don't care. But then what happens? They get discouraged, they get into trouble. So we need to be part of a community that is praying, a community that is also receiving teaching, and as role models. So role modeling is key. to good society. They want to see good people who are faithful in their church and who are straight to their families, and they are able to bring their families well. So communicators, you have immense possibilities. So the more we're able to spread the good news, the better. It's like spreading rain in a place where it's very dry. And let me call to mind that especially now, a world full of many areas that are struggling through war, through famine, through calamities, to give them hope, to say, let's not give up, even despite what people go through. So this is a message for Christ, what he will tell us. I'm sure he'll say to go to those who are crying with them, go who are dancing, dance with them. But remember, we are all missionaries by baptism. You are sent out, baptized and sent, as the message came once upon a time. And remember, we all are part of the messengers of good news and hope. Asante sana.